Hello Mabu hi, welcome back with another episode of my Rant House series, and today, I am going to rant on copy fraud. Why you may ask? It's because I've seen a lot of original videos from different creators being faced with false DMCA takedown notices from random people, claiming content that they do not own, especially some of the online archivists of TV and radio on social media. They have been filing DMCA takedowns on content they archived which they do not own the programs. Now we are about to start this rant, so no more fidgeting. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Oh my god, let's be real for a second. Copy fraud is easily one of the worst, most predatory things to ever happen to the internet. It is the digital equivalent of a scammer putting a for sale sign on the Grand Canyon and then suing you for taking a picture of it. We're living in an era where information is supposed to be free and accessible, yet we've allowed a handful of faceless, automated shell companies to build a toll booth in front of the public domain. It is absolutely infuriating to see a creator spend weeks on a documentary, only to have their revenue hijacked by a company that claims to own a speech by Martin Luther King Jr. or a symphony by Mozart. This isn't just a glitch in the system, it's a systematic abuse of power that treats every creator like a thief until they prove otherwise. The reason this is so uniquely terrible is the sheer laziness of the theft. These entities, often with names that sound like a word salad of media, rights, and management, don't actually create anything. They don't produce art, they don't support artists, and they certainly don't own the history of the world. Instead, they crawl through the public domain, find works that have been free for 70 years, and register them in automated databases. When the algorithm sees you using that work, it doesn't check the copyright date, it just sees a match and hands your wallet to the scammer. It's a low-effort, high-reward shakedown that exploits the fact that most creators are too busy, or too intimidated to fight back against the legal notice. What makes this one of the internet's greatest sins is the asymmetry of the consequences. If you, as a creator, accidentally use 10 seconds of a pop song, you can lose your entire channel and your livelihood. But if a company files 10,000 fraudulent claims on public domain footage of the moon landing, they get absolutely nothing. No fine, no suspension, no loss of their trusted flagger status. They get to keep the money they stole while you were busy filing your dispute, and the platform just shrugs its shoulders. We have built a digital justice system where the police are robots, the judges are absent, and the plaintiff is a bot programmed to lie for profit. It's an ethical vacuum that rewards dishonesty and punishes historical education. This is definitely unacceptable at all, and from what I heard about the YouTube community of my national TV and radio, if there is one thing more infuriating than a faceless corporation committing copy fraud, it is when individual people in the archival community start doing it to each other. Archiving old media is supposed to be a noble effort to preserve history that would otherwise be lost to time. But somewhere along the line, massive egos got involved, and preservation turned into blatant gatekeeping. We are seeing a bizarre trend where individuals who digitize old VHS or cassette tapes suddenly develop a god complex, acting as if they personally own the intellectual property of the massive broadcasting networks they recorded. It completely destroys the spirit of archiving when you rescue a piece of media from obscurity, only to lock it inside your own personal digital vault and weaponize the legal system against anyone who tries to share it. And here's some examples that are potentially cases of copy fraud on social media, especially in my country, the Philippines. Let's look at a glaring example of this, the YouTube channel Jacob Schluter. This channel focuses on archiving old Philippine TV and radio broadcasts. That is a great initiative, on paper. But then came the DMCA takedowns. Jacob Schluter started actively filing copyright strikes against other channels for re-uploading these TV clips, claiming the videos belonged to him. And to double down, he started slapping massive, distracting visual watermarks across the footage to stop people from getting clean re-uploads of the shows he archived from his tapes. Look, we need to live in reality for a second. Plugging a VCR into a capture card does not magically transfer the copyright of an ABS-CBN or GMA broadcast over to you. Slapping your username over a 1990s commercial break doesn't make it your intellectual property. Filing a legal DMCA takedown on footage you do not legally own is the literal definition of copy fraud, and it is a massive abuse of YouTube's copyright system. And it's not just visual media. Audio archivists are doing the exact same thing. Take Dandy's enigmatic world. For instance, this channel archives old radio programs, but has consciously started placing audio watermarks, like voiceovers or sound tags, directly over the broadcasts to prevent people from re-uploading them. They actively hunt down what they call malicious re-uploaders and issue strikes. The explicit goal here is to force viewers to only support their original channel to gain advantages, views, and clout for their archival work. I completely understand that digitizing tapes takes time, effort, and money, and it is incredibly annoying when someone rips your video and doesn't give you credit. But you cannot use copyright law as a tool to enforce basic internet etiquette. What makes this even more absurd is that these creators actually demand that people ask them for permission before reusing the videos. Even when those people aren't using them for infringing purposes, they act like they are the licensing department of a major network. Let's be very clear, you cannot give permission for something you don't own the rights to. In the first place, demanding that a fellow archivist or a documentary filmmaker ask for your blessing to use a clip of a 1985 news broadcast is pure delusion. It is a power trip, disguised as protecting the archives. If the use is transformative or falls under fair use, they have every right to use that historical footage, and they certainly don't need the permission of the person who happened to have a working VCR in 1992. Here is the hard, unavoidable truth that these archivers need to accept. You are a custodian of this media, not the creator. You do not own the rights to the soap operas, the news, broadcasts, or the radio dramas you recorded off the air 20 years ago. When you issue a DMCA takedown against another user for sharing a public broadcast, you are committing perjury, because you are swearing under penalty of law that you are the exclusive copyright holder. You aren't. By hoarding this media, watermarking it to the point of ruining the viewing experience, and striking down other channels, you aren't protecting your hard work. You are actively damaging the preservation community. You are making the media inaccessible, which is the exact opposite of what an archivist is supposed to do. This isn't just about money, it's about the erasure of our shared culture. When schools, museums, and independent historians are afraid to share public domain archives because of content ID nightmares, we are effectively letting corporations privatize history. It creates a chilling effect where people stop making educational content because the stress of fighting copy fraud isn't worth the reward. We are literally watching the commons, the parts of our culture that belong to everyone, be carved up and sold off by trolls. If we don't demand that platforms implement a 3 strikes and you're out rule for fraudulent claimants, we are essentially saying that the public domain no longer exists. At the end of the day, archiving is supposed to be an act of service to history, not a land grab for digital clout. It's incredibly hypocritical to save a piece of media from disappearing only to bury it under watermarks and threaten people with legal action for sharing it. If you're digitizing old tapes, you've done a great thing for the community, but that doesn't make you the CEO of the network that produced the content 30 years ago. Demanding permission for things you don't legally own isn't just a power trip, it's a direct attack on the open nature of the internet and the very idea of the public domain. We need to stop rewarding this gatekeeping behavior and start holding people accountable for abusing copyright tools. Real preservation is about making sure things stay accessible for everyone, not making sure you're the only one allowed to press play. At its core, copy fraud is the ultimate breach of netiquette because it's a form of digital gaslighting. It's someone looking you in the eye and lying about the law just to exert a bit of control or scrap together some undeserved revenue. When people like the creators we discussed, who are supposed to be part of a community of hobbyists and historians, start acting like corporate legal departments, it poisons the well for everyone. It turns what should be a collaborative effort to save cultural history into a toxic competition of who can own a broadcast first. Using the DMCA as a weapon instead of a shield doesn't just hurt the person getting the strike, it makes the entire internet a smaller, more defensive, and less creative place. If we want a healthy internet, we have to respect the public domain as a shared resource. You can't claim to be saving history while simultaneously putting it behind a gate, and demanding it all. True digital etiquette is about contribution and attribution, not litigation and extortion. And that brings us to the end of this deep dive into the messy world of copy fraud and archival gatekeeping. If you found this breakdown helpful, or if you've dealt with these kinds of digital landlords yourself, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps keep this platform a space for honest, logical commentary, and it ensures that we can keep calling out these ethical lapses in the community. Feel free to leave a comment below with your thoughts on the permission fallacy or any other copyright nightmares you've encountered. Thanks for watching, and remember, preserve history, don't hijack it. I'll see you in the next one. This has been Antonio, signing off.